Hello!
Hi,
guys! Oh my goodness.
Welcome to
Ba-ba-da-ba.
Friday with Friends.
Ooh, we almost brought the house down with that one.
Friday with Friends is our opportunity from our real estate team to talk about what's happening in the market right now, to answer questions that you have so that when you have any real estate needs, we will be your realtor of choice.
Exactly.
So, what are we chatting about today?
Hi, everybody who's watching. How much I'm sharing it. You tell them what we're talking about.
Okay, today, Abby's sharing it. I'm going live on my personal page and we're going live on our business page. So we have like two cameras. We're getting really fancy.
Yeah, we're feeling pretty fancy
Hi,
today.
Niner. Hey, Ash. Hey, Emily. Hi, Mike. Hi, Trisha. All of you guys.
Hi, guys.
Okay, so, what we're talking about today is
Let's
real
talk
estate
about it.
investing 101. So we have tons of clients that are investors, and then we also have a lot of people who are like, what is investment all about? So
Right.
it is a whole world, guys. We could talk for
Whole world.
hours, but we're going to do real estate investing 101. And the two topics we're going to be talking about is flipping or holding.
And holding.
Flipping
holding.
or holding. So we're going to talk about those. We're going to break down what that means, what are the important numbers you need to know, markets, just some extra thoughts, and
We'll go
that's
from there.
it. Yeah, so
Perfect.
quick reminders. If you are on here, please comment, like, love,
Wave. It's a new
wave.
thing.
Hashtag hi if you're coming on. Hi Les, hi Carrie, hey Sheena. So give us a like, a love, just to say you're here, and feel free. If you're an investor or if you have specific questions, make sure you're commenting and we'll be sure to work as hard as we can to keep track and answer all of those.
Yeah.
If you're watching this later, hashtag replay so we don't miss any of your comments.
Exactly. Perfect. Yes, definitely comment if you are an investor or you have questions. It's a question that we get a lot because there's so many different ways. Geez, my hair's all over this. There's so many different ways to go about it. Investing in different types of properties and holding and flipping and all of these
Yes.
different words. So we get questions a lot on it. So don't hesitate to comment below and we'll check it out.
Awesome.
Okay.
Hey Emily, happy Friday.
Woohoo.
Okay, so let's get into the first one. So first we're going to talk about flipping and what that
Flipping.
means so you can decide if you think that's, a viable investment strategy for you.
Perfect.
What's the definition of flipping, Abby?
Oh, goodness. Webster's Dictionary. No, I'm just kidding. So basically, flipping is finding a house that's in a good area, but cosmetically needs some work, potentially more than just cosmetic, where you feel confident that you can sell that property at a higher value, and now you bought it down here, you sold it up here, and this is the profit that you get once you sell the property. So typically, this is a shorter process than some other ones that we'll be talking about.
Yes. Hey Jenny, thanks for joining us. So yes, the flip essentially it's a short-term process where you're going to buy it, put some work into it, and then what you're able to sell it for is actually more than what you've invested into it.
Exactly.
So that's how you make money on it. Now the key with flipping is you need to make money on the buy.
The buy. Which
So
you guys are like, what? The money on the buy? I'm blown.
you need to make sure you're buying it at the right price, because
Right.
if you're not buying it at the right price, you're setting yourself up for failure. We'll dig into it a little bit more, but buying it at the right spot, which means oftentimes you're buying it in foreclosure, you're buying it at auction. You could be buying it on the open market. We do have our investors and flippers that buy it in the open market, but the key is you need to make sure you're getting a really great deal.
Exactly. And so, yep, there's lots of different things. And for us, when you're starting to think about exploring, am I going to start flipping? It's really important that you have an agent that's knowledgeable about the market. Because
Yes.
not only are you buying a house, but you then have to resell that house.
Exactly.
So for a lot of our investors who say, Abby, I'm really interested in this house, obviously Leslie, our Rockstar Buyers agent, would help them purchase it. And then it's my job as our listing agent to really run numbers to make sure that we feel confident that they could sell at that higher price.
Exactly. So we talked a little bit about a definition. We talked about how you make money on it. What we're getting into now is the market knowledge that you really, really need to make this succeed.
Right.
So some of the market knowledge that your realtors, hey Heidi, that you really need to know about is what is your expected days on market? And we'll get into that. You need to know how long it's going to take you to sell that property, because you're carrying that property, aka you're holding on to it before you can sell it. So you need to know days on market. You need to know what the neighborhood trends are. Are people moving in or out? Because the worst thing is you buy a house that is actually, you expect it to be a lot more and it's not as much. What else do you need to know?
And I think that's, what a big part of this is yes, you need to get the best price ever on the purchase side, but you really need to be knowledgeable from day one about what that property could sell for.
Yes.
So that's where we're doing two different market analyses. We're doing one
Analysis.
That's not it. It's not it at all. When you're doing the original market analysis to purchase it, but then you're going to look at one that says, at least we make each other laugh, right? You look at the other one to say, okay, when I'm going to sell this in 6 months, whatever it might be, how much can I get? What is the top end of this neighborhood? And, how am I going to make sure that my numbers are right? Because that gets us into the contracting side.
Yes. And now, whenever we talk to someone who does contracting, expecting it's going to cost double and take twice as long. And I know that sounds dramatic, but you need to know going in that you're very confident in your numbers.
Yes.
So you need to know, okay, how long is it going to take me to complete the job? What are some potential unexpecteds that may come up? So if this is your first time doing it, you need to plan this really huge contingency of what if we find mold? What if we find termites?
Right.
Like anything on HGTV, like that's real life. It's not like, oh, this is the drama that comes up. It's real life. So knowing your timeline to be able to give yourself a buffer. Hey, if we do have something unexpected that comes up, hey, if we do have longer timelines, are we still okay? And that's why flipping is, there is such a high reward to it because it is risky for those reasons.
It's really risky. So once we feel like we have a good idea of our numbers, we know, what we're going to buy it for, what we hope in the open market we can sell it for. That's then when we start, actually getting the house. Anything we want to talk about with offers?
Like what?
I think so. So basically, when you're writing an offer, most of the time that we see our clients that are purchasing are either going to be cash, maybe a rehab loan.
Yes. And now, when you are buying an investment property, a lot of times we're seeing it as cash properties. And when it's a cash property, that basically means that it's a property that you can't put a mortgage on, right? So the bank will not qualify. Maybe it doesn't have heat. Maybe it doesn't have running water. So a lot of times people buy it for cash. We find that makes a lot of sense when numbers are so tight.
Exactly. So once we have the house and we've purchased it, we've run the numbers, we feel confident about it, that's when investors, our clients that are flipping properties, can start doing the work. And this is something that we would probably be involved with as well, because it's not just you put in everything that's necessarily beautiful, right? You need to make sure that your numbers make sense on the repairs as well.
Yeah, so I think where you're going with this is we as realtors, you need to know not just about the price, but also what do you need in order for the buyer to find that property appealing? Is it a $100,000 house that if you have really nice Corian countertops, that's all you need?
Yep.
Or do you need to put granite in? If you want to get this price point, you need granite. If you want to get this price point, you better add an extra bath. Those are the kind of things that are important. We've seen investors add a second full bath, and you're like, you didn't need to. The value of you putting that in is not going to bring that ballpark that we're hoping for.
Right.
Or maybe you didn't do something that was really, really important. So you need to know and be smart about those. You need to know your market so you can be smart about doing that.
Right, exactly. And that's huge, because you want to make sure that you're not spending too much money on putting in high-end features like your granite and your stainless steel and your hardwood, and you're not adding things that you don't necessarily need to add. So that's huge, because that's where your profit is coming from, is how much money you have at the end of the day when you sell it.
Every penny counts, and you really want to make sure that the buyers are appreciating every penny that you put into it. So we had a question, Amanda, is it a buyer's or seller's market right now? So we had a Friday with Friends about the shift, and what we're finding is that it's a shift from a seller's market into a buyer's market. It's not truly a buyer's market just yet. We're coming down from the shift of the seller's market. Thanks for asking.
Great question.
Okay, so guys, flipping. That's what we just talked about. We talked about how do you flip and what are the important things you need to have on your radar. You need to understand going in that you need to buy it at the right price. If you're not saving money on the buy, you're going to set yourself up for a tough challenge, because any old person could put that money into it and flip it. You need to make sure that you are you're buying it really, really well. You need to make sure you know the market, the neighborhoods, what are the important features that buyers are looking for, all that good stuff, and to really be clear on your timeline and your carrying costs, because your carrying costs, aka if you have a mortgage, and if you need heat, you need electric, you need taxes,
insurance,
all those things add up pretty quick.
All of that good stuff. And then, really understanding as we said, the market and your sale price or the purchase price and what you can eventually sell it for in the future.
That max sale price.
That
So,
max
do you
sale
see how detailed it is? We're not like detail crazy people when it comes to these Friday with Friends, but we want to dig in so that you can really, really see it, so you can decide if this is something you want to get into. Most of the time, our flippers have contracting experience. If you were to general contract out these things, that's when it'll add up. But when we have people that can do it all, that's where you can really get those margins to make sense for you.
And a lot of times when you're hiring someone out, again, you buy down here, you sell down here, this is your profit. And then you have your, construction costs. And if you are unable to hire out, or if you have to hire out, that's going to really eat into those profits. Like me,
Light bulb.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. So I'm going to go more with this second option of investing.
Oh, what a segue! Go for it.
I've been working on my transitions lately.
We can tell. I have a great job.
So the second type of investing is holding. So Mandy, you tell us this time, what is the definition of holding properties?
So the definition of holding properties, in contrast to flipping properties, the intent with a hold is that you are going to maintain ownership of the property for a duration of time. And you can hold for, many different strategies. You know what we should have prefaced this with?
I don't know.
Be sure to consult your financial advisor
Yeah.
and your accountant for all of these things. So definitely that's the preface. But here's the thing: you work with your financial advisor, whoever is helping you make these decisions, to see what holding looks like. We have clients that holding looks like a long time. We have clients that 5 years is holding. So that's the definition of holding.
Of holding. It's basically buying a property,
maintaining ownership
for a significant length of time, not just redoing it and putting it back on the market. So for holding, this is where you're going to have tenants and you're going to have rental income. So really, versus a flip where you're purchasing it and selling it maybe within 6 months to a year, here you're having more of that consistent, less money of course, but consistent rental income.
Yes. Thanks, Sean. Hey, everybody that's tuning in. Thanks so much. Okay, so how do you make money when you're holding? First, you make money off of the basic rental income. So you own the property, and we're gonna get into all this, but you are gaining money from people that are paying to exist in your property. So sometimes it could be commercial, so it could be like storage units, sometimes, or apartment buildings, or it could be more of just a single family residential, duplex, all that stuff.
Right.
So rental income, you can also make money off of appreciation. This is like a legitimate retirement strategy that people use, that they're just buying it. So you can for example, you could buy one property a year, do a 10-year mortgage on it, and then by the end of that 10 years, that property will then be fully paid off. So you're no longer paying a mortgage on it. And then after those, they continue to get paid down, then you're looking at 10 properties that you own outright and are able to benefit from that rental income coming in.
Exactly. So there's lots of different ways. And did you say appreciation?
So yes, appreciation.
So basically just with the value of the property increasing in value from now until 15 years down the line. You're not maybe doing a complete flip or a complete renovation. Obviously in 15 years, you're going to have to do work on the property, but might not be as quick of a turnaround, and it's just simple appreciation that's increasing the sale price.
Yes,
exactly.
So appreciation, rental income. You can also have awesome write-offs. So love on. Make sure you got a great accountant that knows what they're doing there. Write-offs, and then you could also buy it and live in it, guys. A holding strategy is that you buy a property. So you buy a duplex, you rent out next door, and you live in the other spot. So that's a huge opportunity there too. And that's essentially a type of holding and way to generate.
Exactly. And then when you have your one side and the other, hopefully the rental income from the other side is paying off your mortgage as well. And then you're almost living for free. So that's a pretty cool strategy that a lot of first-time home buyers are exploring.
So if you're holding, what's the market knowledge that you need to know?
A lot of things. So now we're talking about we purchase the property, we do that market analysis. We're also going to do another market analysis when holding, but that's going to be your rental income market analysis. Like when pricing homes, we look at comparables and we look at, okay, this house sold for this house sold for that. We're going to do the same exact thing, but with rental. Okay, this property was rented out at this amount. How do I compare things like that? So knowing the market analysis when you're renting.
Yeah, and you need to know everything about the rental market in that neighborhood. You need to know, are rental prices increasing? Are they decreasing? Like anyone from Rochester, you know, Park Ave is crazy with rentals, and that's why so many people are buying with the intent to hold. You have, you need to know your vacancy rates. You also need to think about, you need to understand your neighborhood. Are you buying a rental property close to FLCC or RIT where you know that if you're not getting somebody in there by August, September, you may not be able to rent that out for an entire year. You need to know, is it a single family house that is in a really important school district? Well, you're probably going to need to make sure those people are in there and settled by July and August so they can start school in September. So knowing those, it's a totally different ballpark where you need to know markets if you're planning on the intent of holding.
It's definitely different. Yep, that's for sure. So how about, you know, again, we talked about important numbers that you need to know. I was like, what are you laughing? Are you laughing at me? A couple of numbers that we need to know. But then there's also every landlord, you know, does business differently. So there's, are utilities included? Are they not included? Is lawn mowing included? Is it not included? Snow this time of year, which we're looking out the window at our first blizzard of 2018.
I get excited about it.
I know, we do. Just like suckers.
Yeah, so that's what we mean, knowing the market, know the neighborhood, knowing what kind of tenants you're going to be getting, know to how you're going to appeal to it. So that's what you need to know about the market. Now in terms of the numbers that you need to know. This is the biggest question that we get. How do we know if it makes sense? And we as realtors cannot say, this is a smart investment. You need to know what are important to your numbers. There's a term that everyone calls capitalization rate, the cap rate. Basically, it is a measurement tool to identify how much income is being generated from what you're investing in. And people's cap rates can vary. They can sometimes, someone who's just getting started and wants to hold for long term, they may be fine with a lower cap rate.
I think mine was like, what was it, like 7% or something like that, which is a little bit lower. Some investors.
Low, yeah. Most people, it's really low. But we built in a management fee.
Yeah, there was tons of stuff. So every situation is different. Well, you know, 7% might work for some person. Other investors are maybe looking for a 10 to 12% cap rate. So everything is different because there's obviously different fees. Some have mortgages, some don't. Things like that.
And there's a book called Hold, guys. So there's a book. So Gary Keller, I don't know if he wrote it, but it's in Keller Inc. And we'll post a link on it. But you literally have a property worksheet that will give you a cap rate. It's an Excel spreadsheet. It is awesome. So if you're looking for more tools like that, message us and we can provide that. And then as our investors go through and say, yes, this cap rate's going to work for us, this makes sense depending on what your strategy is.
And I had it in a Google Doc. And you can, every property you see, you can analyze quickly and it pops out at the bottom. So what's on there is, you know, the cost of the property, the rent, and then every single detail, because even $50 a month, small things like that for, you know, an owner, a landlord, make a difference.
Huge difference.
So you're, you know, the trash, the water, you have to put some money away for reserve funds for those, you know, repairs.
A furnace going.
A furnace, all of that good stuff. So there's definitely a lot that goes into holding because there's so many fees that come up with owning a house. So that's why we have a whole nice long list for that cap rate that we can help analyze that.
Yes, and that's what this is about. When you are holding a property, it's going to be a long-term investment. So you want to make sure you're seeing all of the different options and seeing all of, you have the foresight into what's going to make sense, what might you have a challenge, so that you can make the best educated decision. And I always say, opportunities are like buses. There's always another one coming. So when you have a property that you're like, oh, this makes sense, but the numbers might not work, we go on to find that next one. Because when you're holding, this is long term, of course you could sell it at any time, but you really want to make sure you're setting yourself up for success for the future if your investment strategy is to hold.
It's exactly what you said to me.
That is what I said to her.
She's so wise.
Oh gosh, you know me. So we talked about, another note that we had, a lot of times people are using Airbnb as a holding investment strategy. Guys, that's exists.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
You can do that. Now you have to, your stipulations for your neighborhood, but that is potential. That's a holding strategy where you can be there, and that extra money you can do whatever you want with it. But that's a holding strategy too. Is Airbnb, renting out a room, all that kind of stuff.
Especially where we live, we have so many beautiful spots, so it could be really neat. I'll take a weekend trip. But yeah, so Airbnb is definitely a neat option. We have another question. What is the name of the book on cap rates?
Hold. H-O-L-D, Hold. Keller Inc. Look up Keller Inc. Hold, and you'll find all the free stuff, but I'll make sure we put it on there.
Is there another one for flipping, or
I think it's called Flip.
It's like, I think it's called Flip.
F-L-I-P, Flip. But they're all there. We'll make sure we post on it. But the Excel spreadsheets are really, really great, and it's important for you to know your numbers, and that's why we make it a priority to know that and to have it easily accessible. And like we said, everyone has their own ways of measuring for investments, and that's fine. Our job is just to make sure that we're keeping the eyes out for what you want. You're welcome, Jeremy. Yeah.
So I would just say yes. If you are interested in these, send us a message. Again, we're kind of giving the basics, but there's so many more specifics as it comes down to
so many.
What makes sense, what doesn't make sense. How do I analyze this? How do I analyze that? This is my situation. All of those things, and we can really break down, because really, I listen to a ton of podcasts on investing, and that's what I've been learning, is that anyone can invest. Whether it's a duplex or you're, holding your own home or renting out a room, whatever it might be, there's always investments in there, which I think is really cool. And there's some unique financial ways too to maybe get an investment without having 20% down and,
Yes, that's a great
whole other podcast.
Yeah, but that for you to know that if investing is something that you want to have happen, it's never too early to talk to your financial advisor, to talk to us as realtors, and there's a lot of different options out there that you can set yourself up for success investing in real estate in whatever way you want to do it.
What podcast? So I listen to Bigger Pockets podcast.
She loves that one.
Just search it. There's a few different ones. A lot of them, they do have one specific for real estate investing. So that's what I listen to. And I, hear all of these amazing people talking about how they have 100 investment properties or something like that. And I'm like, I'd be good with a few. So there's lots of podcasts. There's tons of books, as we've talked about.
Yes.
So don't hesitate to reach out to us, and we can point you in the right direction with that.
Good. Well, thank you guys so much. So we went through on Friday with Friends Investing 101 today, which was where we talked about the difference between real estate investing in terms of flipping and holding. If either of these seems appealing, please let us know, and we'd love to chat more with you on it. If there's any questions that stem from this, let us know more. We'd love to help. Friday with Friends is our opportunity to chat with you about what's going on in the market. So if you have any real estate needs, you know that we would love to be your realtor of choice and would love to help in any way we can.
Perfect. Yes, and we'll we'll put in the comments.
I love that you do this all the time.
Is this what YouTubers do?
Yes. We're so YouTubers.
We're not at all. But we'll put the books recommendations in there and a few other things, just so you guys can hop right on, order them, and really start learning more about it, because that's an exciting first step, definitely.
Love it. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in,
Bye, guys.